Sky, once friendly blue, now raged with fire. Metal screamed, passengers cried, fear choked me. Crash, darkness, silence, broken only by the hiss of the dying engine and the pounding of my own heart. I was alive. Disoriented, I fumbled for my seatbelt, desperate to escape the wreckage. The salty air stung my nostrils, the taste of fear heavy in my mouth. I crawled out, pulling myself onto the beach. Around me lay the remnants of the plane, a mangled carcass against the white sand. The island rose from the sea, a green jewel against the azure sky. Palm trees swayed in the gentle breeze, their fronds rustling like whispers. The beauty did little to calm the storm inside me. I was alone, stranded. Fear threatened to overwhelm me, but I pushed it down. Panic wouldn't save me. I needed a plan, a way to survive until help arrived. But what could I do alone on this deserted island? The first night was the longest of my life. The cold, unforgiving sand, my only bed. The star-strewn sky, my only comfort. But dawn brought with it a new resolve. The island, once a source of fear, now represented a challenge. I had survived the crash. Now I would survive the island. Food, water, shelter. I needed to secure the basics. And I would use every ounce of ingenuity, every bit of tape to do it. First, shelter. The sun beat down mercilessly. I needed protection from the elements. Using debris from the plane wreckage and my trusty duct tape, I began to construct a makeshift shelter. The tape held together salvaged metal sheets, creating a roof against the sun. Palm leaves woven together with strips of tape formed the walls. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Next, water. Dehydration was a real threat. I needed to find a source of fresh water, and fast. My search led me to a cluster of rocks where I discovered a small trickling stream. Using a piece of the plane's fuselage and more duct tape, I fashioned a crude cup to collect the precious liquid. My spirits soared. I had shelter. I had water. Now I needed to find food. The island, I soon discovered, was teeming with life. Crabs scuttled along the beach, fish leaped from the waves, and birds soared overhead. But how to catch them? I needed tools, and my only resource was duct tape. That's when it hit me. The sticky surface of duct tape could be used to catch prey. I set to work, my mind racing with possibilities. First, a fishing rod. I found a long, sturdy branch and used duct tape to attach a makeshift fishing line, a length of wire scavenged from the plane's electrical system. For a hook, I used a bent piece of metal, secured with, you guessed it, duct tape. The trap was simple yet effective. I coated a large piece of driftwood with duct tape, its sticky surface facing outwards. Leaving it near the water's edge, I waited. Soon, the trap was covered in crabs, their legs stuck fast to the tape. My first meal on the island wasn't pretty, but it was protein, and it kept me alive. Days turned into weeks. The island, once a hostile stranger, was becoming familiar. I learned its rhythms, its secrets. I knew where to find the best shellfish, how to track a coconut crab, and which plants were safe to eat. My duct tape tools, primitive but effective, became extensions of my own ingenuity. But the island was not without its dangers. One evening, the sky turned a sickly green. The wind howled, whipping the palm trees into a frenzy. A storm was coming, and I knew my flimsy shelter wouldn't withstand its fury. I needed something stronger, something more permanent. Using salvaged pieces of the plane's fuselage, I began to construct a sturdier structure. The duct tape acted as both adhesive and reinforcement, binding the metal sheets together, creating a waterproof barrier. I even managed to rig up a makeshift rainwater collection system, channeling the runoff from the roof into a large, duct tape-sealed container. Life on the island was a constant test of my resourcefulness. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities to use my wits and my ever-dwindling supply of duct tape to survive. One challenge presented itself in the form of needing a cutting tool. A sharp edge would make countless tasks easier. from preparing food to improving my shelter. A knife was out of the question, but I had duct tape, and where there's a will, there's a way. I carefully folded a long strip of duct tape onto itself, creating a thick, sturdy band. Then I twisted it tightly, forming a surprisingly strong and surprisingly sharp point. My duct tape blade wasn't as versatile as a real knife, but it could saw through small branches, cut through fish, and even carve wood. It was a testament to the power of human ingenuity, and a reminder that even the simplest tools can be lifesavers in the right hands. Though I had secured a source of fresh water, I knew I couldn't rely on the stream alone. I needed a way to collect and store rainwater, ensuring a constant supply. Once again, duct tape came to my rescue. Using large leaves found deep within the island's interior, I constructed a series of funnels. These funnels, strategically placed beneath the gaps in the rocky terrain, directed rainwater into a network of channels. These channels, lined and sealed with duct tape, carried the water to a large depression in the ground. This natural basin, lined with a thick layer of leaves and sealed with, you guessed it, duct tape, became my reservoir. With my water worries eased, I could focus on other aspects of survival. I expanded my shelter, adding a raised sleeping platform to avoid insects and moisture. I experimented with new fishing techniques, even managing to catch a small reef shark using a baited hook and my trusty duct tape line. One day, the tide brought with it an unexpected gift, a large piece of driftwood, smooth and weathered from its journey across the ocean. This wasn't just any driftwood. This was opportunity. This was my ticket off this island. I would build a raft. Using the duct tape, I lashed together smaller pieces of debris to the driftwood, creating a stable base. More driftwood, collected over the following days, formed the raft's deck. I even wove together palm fronds and duct tape to create a rudimentary sail. My heart pounded with a mixture of hope and fear. Was this madness? Could a raft cobbled together with salvaged materials and duct tape really carry me to safety? I reinforced the structure, adding layer upon layer of duct tape. I tested the buoyancy, adding and adjusting until I was satisfied. Finally, after weeks of back-breaking work, the raft was complete. It wasn't pretty, but it was strong, and it floated. It represented my best hope of escape. With the raft complete, I needed to attract attention. A passing ship might not see a lone figure on a deserted island, but they couldn't miss a signal fire. I collected dry wood, building a large pyre on the beach. But how to start a fire? I had no matches, no lighter. Then I remembered a trick I'd seen on a survival show, using sunlight and a lens to create fire. I carefully polished the bottom of my metal cup with sand until it shone. Then, using a small piece of duct tape, I focused the sunlight onto a pile of dry tinder. Minutes ticked by, each one an eternity. Just when I was about to give up hope, a tendril of smoke curled from the tinder. I gently blew on the embers, coaxing the flame to life. Soon, a roaring fire lit up the night, sending a plume of smoke high into the sky. My beacon was lit. The first rays of dawn painted the sky with hues of pink and orange as I pushed the raft into the water. My heart pounded with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. This was it. This was my chance. I loaded my meager possessions onto the raft, my duct tape blade, my water bottle, a small stash of coconuts. Everything else, every memory of my time on the island, I left behind. The current pulled me away from the shore towards the vast expanse of the ocean. The island, once my prison, now seemed small and insignificant in the face of the endless horizon. I scanned the sea, searching for any sign of life, any glimmer of hope. Days turned into nights, the sun beating down mercilessly, the stars offering cold comfort. Doubt gnawed at me. Had I made a mistake? Would I ever be rescued? Just when my hope began to dwindle, I saw it. A light flickering on the horizon. My heart leaped. Could it be? The roar of the ship's engine was a symphony to my ears. I had never been so happy to hear such a sound. The ship changed course, heading towards me. I could see figures on deck, their faces etched with concern as they pulled me aboard. I had been found. I was safe. Tears streamed down my face, a mixture of relief, gratitude, and disbelief. The crew gathered around, their faces a mixture of awe and disbelief as I recounted my tale. They marveled at my raft, at my duct tape tools, at my sheer will to survive. The captain, a grizzled veteran of the sea, clapped me on the shoulder. "You've got guts, son," he said, his voice gruff with admiration, "and a hell of a lot of resourcefulness." As the ship sailed away from the island, I couldn't help but look back at the place that had tested me, broken me, and ultimately made me stronger. I had arrived with nothing but fear and a roll of duct tape, and I was leaving with a newfound appreciation for the resilience of the human spirit. I had survived, and I knew with absolute certainty that I could face anything life threw at me. After all, I had duct tape, and that, I had learned, was all I ever really needed.